2, 3.
You can't shock me, and there's nothing that your problems are nowhere near as bad as you think they are.
I made a commitment. I said, this is a great thing to do. This is a great way to help people.
We've always had a rather large bankruptcy practice. It's always been a big part of our daily lives, so to speak. We've always done debt work for consumers.
There's nobody who can tell me what's going on in their life that I can't relate to. I know what it's like not to have it. I know what it's like to have to ask to borrow. I know what it's like when you have 3 people calling and you barely have enough to pay 2. And I'm here offering these people the same relief that I got back, 1980, whatever. And I'm offering it to them now, except it's so much more complicated. And so much of this, mortgage fraud and just evil that I see that beyond explanation.
We would take a foreclosure defense case and we would prosecute it back in the days when the judges didn't want to hear anything. Other than, did you pay the note? The answer is no, and down comes the gavel and we're off to the auction. So little by little we started taking the cases one at a time, and that's how we got into it.
In the past, 5 to 6 years is a catastrophe for this country. I can't say it and I'm not being overly dramatic about it. Small businesses have been devastated, from restaurants. I mean, it used to be you had a restaurant for 20 years, you were set for the next 20. I mean, you had your clientele. It was out there, and absent some calamity that was out of your control, you had an ongoing concern until your retirement. Listen, it affects everybody. I mean, we're here in Westchester County, New York, and it's Chapter 11 are for businesses generally. Right, but we're using them more and more for individuals because they have $1.5 million mortgages. They're outside the limits of a Chapter 13. So we have $1.5, $2 million mortgages, $3 million mortgages, and these are primary residences. And it's a crazy episode. To be late on your mortgage was a financial calamity. I mean, if you were 30 days late on your mortgage, your financial life was over. You weren't getting a car, you weren't getting a credit card, you certainly weren't going to refinance again. And today, so many people are not just 30 days, but multiple.
I went into the real estate business, which actually was pretty good, up until 1987 when Black Friday hit, and that was the end of the stock market. And I said, "Hey, that's not me. I have real estate." And when it did collapse, I had 11 mortgages.
It's everything. It's the economy. It's people that got involved in flipping properties or buying too many properties because the money was easy. It's there still is the strategic default. I mean, that still exists. People are out there making a conscious decision. Maybe you have a married couple. Maybe that the home or the note is only in one of the couple's names. The other one still has good credit. They see it's an upside down house. That the house is owed substantially more than you're ever going to get for the next 15 years. And they make a calculation to walk away. It's not common, but those are still out there. People have lost their lost jobs. Businesses have tanked. And it's out there. I represent individuals. I don't represent banks. And there's no question that my perspective, my skew, is focused on how to get these people what it is they came here for, to stay in the home or to manage a surrender of the home, if you will. As far as I can tell, there's not a banker anywhere in the world that's getting a bonus for how many foreclosures they resolve. And I think, honestly, it has to come from the private sector. I think it has to come from the banks, and so far they haven't done this. There has to be a resolution that they that they implement and that they commit to. And they try to make it happen, because until that happens, the economy's not turning around and the banks aren't turning around. Essentially, you go into a court and you say, "Listen, Judge, no one owns my. I don't have a mortgage. All right. There's a cloud on my title. In other words, my free and clear ownership of my home is encumbered. It's clouded by a mortgage. All right, and no one can tell me who owns that mortgage. So therefore, Judge, I want you to tell me that nobody owns it, and to absolve me and my property of the responsibility of that, for that mortgage, and let me have my house for free. The first question the court's going to say is, well, did you borrow money from somebody? And the homeowner will say, yes, Judge, I did. Well, did you pay it back? And the homeowner's, if he's going to speak on it, go, well, no. Okay, well then, what are we doing here? I just don't know who I owe it to. But you owe it to someone, the judge says. Well, maybe. Did you sign a note? I think so. The judge is not, he's not interested in, the courts are about fairness. So, are there quiet title actions across the country that have worked? I don't know. I've never seen one. Honestly, I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking for them, but I certainly haven't seen one in New York. There's no such thing as a free house. There's options here, all right? And we will help you exercise those options and pursue those options. And there's multiple options. But at the end of the day, two things are true. One is, if you can't make a mortgage payment that's somewhat in line with the value of the home, all right, you're not keeping the home, all right? So that's it. So if you're out of work and you expect to be back at work in 2, 3, 4, 8 months, I can help you. I can keep that house where it is. There's all sorts of arguments we can make. But the assumption is that you're getting your income back. I'll help you. All right, that's number one. Number two, if you've completely given up on staying in the house, if you know you can't afford it, all right, then I will help you transition out of that home in what I call a civil way. And if we can modify the loan and the income is there to modify, that's the home run for everyone. Well, I shuffled through the city on a 4th of July, had a firecracker waiting to blow. When people pay us to resolve their financial issues, that is money very, very well spent, because 99 or even 999 times out of 1,000, they walk out of my office at the end of whatever the process is, much better off than they were when they walked in. And the biggest problem people have is they come to us too late. We can answer the complaint if they filed the complaint. We represent you at the foreclosure conference if we're at that part. We get involved. We countersue the banks. We ask for documents. We send out qualified written requests for documents from the banks. We do discovery. We ask for depositions. We sometimes get depositions depending on where we are in the process. We may strategically put you into a bankruptcy because that's where you need to be, but also it helps in resolving the mortgage. There's all sorts of options and strategies that we use. We're an accessible firm. We are very friendly, but we are accessible. If you call us and you want to, and we don't know who you are, you're not a current client, we will answer our questions to the best of our ability without crossing the line between representation and non-representation. In many instances, are able to get a mortgage again. It might be a little bit more work. Maybe you have to put a little more money down, or maybe you pay a little bit higher interest rate, but you are back to financial success.
So I'm bringing people into the fold and making them understand that this is a viable solution to an economic problem that for most people was not brought on by frivolous spending or things of that nature.
First of all, we are we're a relatively small firm. We hold ourselves out, and we accurately as a firm that represents individuals and small businesses in many different aspects of their lives. All right, that's our niche. That's how we earn our living. We do a lot of bankruptcy, and we're very good at bankruptcy. It's actually one of our strongest practice areas by number. And we have small businesses that we represent in all different things. We have individuals that we do all different. If you come in here to talk about a case, you never get charged the first time you come in here. All right? You might not get charged the second time you come in here. You might not get charged the third time you come in here. That goes against our better business judgment, but that's the way that we are. We're very accessible. We're very good to our clients. And it's worked for us so far. People come out of here and they feel so much better. You have no idea how many people come back in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Oh, Lawrence, oh, Todd, oh, Linda, you've done so much for me. I can't, my kids are in college, whatever. And I wish that there were so many other people we could do that for, because it's liberating, and I mean that, it's liberating. And people come in here and they're happy and they get some financial life back. They might not be making as much as they were 3 years ago. They might not have the same house. All right, but their children are healthy. They have a roof over their head. It might not be what they had 3 years ago. They have a car. They have jobs, and they even take a vacation now and again. So. You used to take the subway on a house and thought I would wait for you and not try to hide. Love won't play